Hello, welcome to Lakefront News. I'm Lauren DeLeon. Today we begin with an announcement on spring break. For those of you who don't know, spring break at the lake takes place from March 10th through the 17th. Now, do you have a meal plan or printing money you're not using? You may be surprised where your money is going. Lakefront reporter Gabriel Torres followed the money and where it has been going.
Have you ever wondered where your printing money goes, or where your meal plan's going after you leave campus for a summer? Well, I investigated where that money goes, and what I found might surprise you.
I don't use all of my printing money because sometimes there's some certain assignments that I don't have to print out.
Our Lake to the Lake student, Elian Jimenez, does not use all the $80 of printing money given to her by the university each semester. She just learned unused printing funds do not roll over.
I didn't really know that at all. So it's something that surprises me, honestly.
Anthony Tardita, Vice President of Finance at OLLU, says some students receive more than $80 a semester in printing money.
For undergraduate students, they are allocated $80 per year for printing. Graduates, $128, doctoral, $160.
Then we asked Tardita about other funds, like what happens to unused meal plan money. He mentions that students can still use unused meal plan money for the spring semester during the summer.
May 31st comes in, we allow students to utilize their meal cards over the summer. At the beginning of August, we cut whatever activity, we cut off all activity. We close the cafeteria for about a week so they can restock and remodel, clean.
We asked him where meal plan money goes when it's not used.
And any funds left over are just used by the university to cover the deficit at this point.
Tardita says why it goes back to the university.
We're operating at a deficit again this year, and we're okay with it. We've discussed it with the Board of Trustees. The solution, of course, would be to raise meal service fees, and we'd have to raise them quite a bit to break even. But we don't want to put that burden on our students.
About $28,000 has been collected by the university from the unused meal plan money and students not coming back. Jimenez expresses her feelings on why students should keep all leftover money.
Yes, I do believe that we students should keep the money because, we are paying out of pocket for the tuition, and out of the tuition comes our printing balances, and it's not really fair that it goes back to the school, and we can also keep that money in our account to use it for the following year.
The Vice President of Finance had said if you have any questions or concerns about anything financially, you can speak to him at his office at Moy, room 105, or attend your local SGA meeting. Remember, use it or you lose it, your printing money is yours.
The Assistance League of San Antonio is offering $3,000 scholarships for juniors and seniors. The intent of the scholarship is to provide financial assistance to help students reach their educational goals. The award can be used for tuition, fees, and books. To be eligible for a scholarship, the applicant must be enrolled as a full-time student entering their junior and senior year. For more information, go to www.assistanceleague.org/San Antonio. From the year Our Lady of the Lake was founded in 1895, the university has held so much history and campus legends throughout the halls. Lakefront reporter Danielle Ojeda investigates the infamous myth behind the missing sword in Moy Hall.
I'm here outside of Moy Hall where the statue of St. Joan of Arc stands. OLLU legend has it that the original sword of the statue was stolen years ago as a prank. It has still not been found to this day. However, legend continues that if a student were to find the sword, free tuition would be on the table for that lucky saint. Myth, or is money on the table?
I definitely do believe the girls stole the sword, but I feel like they kept it among themselves.
That was OLLU student tour guide Levi Gallegos sharing her view on the missing sword story. Gallegos shares the tale on every one of her tours.
It's supposed to be made out of pure silver, I'm pretty sure they kept it for themselves, and I think they passed it around amongst the girls. I don't believe it's buried somewhere in the lake or anything like that, just because it's pretty much worth a lot of money now.
However, she makes a point not to mention whether or not she believes in the entire legend, which includes free tuition for whoever finds the sword.
I don't share whether it's real or not, just because this legend actually really keeps the audience engaged. So you sort of try to make them make it spooky, make it entertaining. If they find it, they're pretty much set for college here at the lake. And and so I pretty much just try to like pique their interest more with it rather than be like, no, it's not real.
Before you plan your on-campus search for the sword, you should know that there is yet to be official proof for the reward. We went to ask transfer coordinator in the admissions office, Elisa Martinez, about the tuition grant attached to the story.
Absolutely, yeah, because I have yet to hear or seen anything in writing where it says, hey, if a student comes up to you with this sword, then you give them on the spot tuition-free assistance or, free tuition. So yes, I think it just is an urban legend. It's a pretty neat legend. It's just not real.
Although admission counselors will help students receive financial aid and scholarships to attend OLLU, they will not recommend any student to dive in the lake or dig on campus grounds in search for the sword. This is part of OLLU history and cannot promise absolute free tuition.
And it's just one of those urban legends, I think, that just gets passed on from student generation to student generation.
Reporting for the Lakefront News, I'm Danielle Ojeda.
For many, 12 credit hours is a full load for a semester for a college student. But what about students who work during the school year? What are the pros and cons of having a job during your college years? Earlier, I spoke to students who have jobs and students whose only job is school to find out who comes out ahead.
There's work and then there's homework. For some students, their only job is school. Biology major Corin Montalvo seems to think that students whose only job is school have an advantage.
I'm doing way better now that I don't have a job because last semester kind of went downhill when I did have a job. That's another reason why I quit, because I had to focus more on my major, and now that I'm focusing more on it without the job, it's way better, GPA-wise too.
However, student employee Kelly Whitehead claims having a job while taking on a full course load is manageable as long as there's balance.
I think that students who work on campus or off campus while they're full-time students can manage it if they have good time management. It all depends on how well you manage your time. Basically, if you're putting more effort into working and you're not studying, then your grades will fail. So if you have a good balance, it can be good.
Work-study jobs make it easier to make money and study for your classes, says Whitehead.
So for me, doing well in my classes as well as having a job is easier only because I have an on-campus job. And work study is good because you get to work, but you also get to do that around your schedule.
Montalvo explains that she has more time to herself now that she doesn't have a job.
Now that I don't have a job, I find it much more easier because I have a lot more time to study and get homework done, because I'd be doing homework on break and do rush. And now I can take my time and get through it.
So is having extra money really worth the stress? We spoke to coordinator of the Student Leadership and Development Office, Scarlett Alonso, to get her opinion in regards to students having jobs.
I always see that in the end, if they come out on top with skills that they learned or anything that really bulks up their resume for graduate school, I see that it's worth it. Sometimes you got to hit a little bumps in the road to get to your goal.
Alonso says that having an off-campus job may put you at a disadvantage.
So yes, I do think if students work off campus, it is different because they come to school and then they leave right after class is done and go straight to work. And I've heard from students, oh, I wish I would have maybe worked on campus because I would have been more involved.
So, having a job while being a student has its pros and cons, but as long as you manage your time, you can make a 4.0 while making some money. Reporting for Lakefront News, I'm Lauren DeLeon.
The city of San Antonio will begin trimming the trees on Bird Island February 21st. You will see workers wearing hazmat suits on the island during this process. The work could take more than a week to complete. Bird Island is located in Elmendorf Lake near Parking Lot E. A recent update on the bird removal is that workers found eggs on Bird Island. Because of this discovery, the project has been put on hold until further notice. Students are reminded not to park in front of the Our Lady of the Lake Convent. Parking in that area is reserved for convent employees. Students will be ticketed if found parking in the lot. Is our border secure? President Trump says it's not, and has long been proposing a border wall. Lakefront reporter Santiago Reyes traveled to the border to speak to locals there to hear what they have to say about border safety.
I'm here along the U.S.-Mexican border at El Paso, Texas, where President Donald Trump will be commencing his 2020 re-election campaign. After his comments on El Paso's safety at the State of the Union, I asked locals what life at the borderline is really like.
It's really safe. I mean, not only do the numbers prove we're one of the safest cities our size compared to other cities the same size, but I've never personally felt that I was like not safe in my environment. In different parts of town, I feel pretty safe. I feel safe with protection from El Paso Police Department and our Border Patrol and everybody that does security for us.
That was Joe Guerra, who has lived in El Paso for many years. Locals respect the president's position, but believe that the president does not know the border enough to understand life at the border.
I think he's so far out of touch with what the common person goes through in life. I think he knows what to say to a certain base of people that he's trying to relate to, but for the common person in the U.S. and El Paso, he does not know what the average daily life is like for us, or our daily struggles, or even our concerns on safety or security.
El Paso resident Mauricio Maldonado believes that there is a need for greater security, but not to the extent the president seeks. It's good to have security, given that we live next to the city that is most dangerous in Mexico. I do think that it's good to have protection, but not to the extent the president wants. I don't agree with that. President Trump has focused on illegal immigration, considering it a national crisis at the February 10th rally in El Paso.
I don't believe we have a crisis. I think it's status quo, like everything's going on as it always has been. Before the border wall came up in 2006 or 7, we were already one of the safest cities, so I think nothing hasn't changed, and there is no crisis, none that we've seen and none that we have felt.
Reporting for the Lakefront News, I'm Santiago Reyes.
Have an event coming up?
This national emergency has many wondering what happens next. President Donald Trump attempts to use funding for his border wall. Lakefront reporter Serapio Marquez spoke with political science professor Lita Barnett to get more information.
Thank you, Lauren. President Donald Trump has declared a national emergency, and many are wondering, what is a national emergency? I went and spoke with political science professor Lita Barnett and asked her what are the possible consequences and what happens next.
Usually what to do with sanctions against another country, that's the most common category. It's pretty rare that it's used, to as war-making powers or that kind of thing.
Our Lady of the Lake political science professor Lita Barnett explains how President Donald Trump's recent national emergency declaration is so different and why many are questioning it.
I think that the reason that it's under question this time is because it is being used to allocate money that had already been allocated by Congress through other budgets.
Barnett says that there's no definite definition of a national emergency, and so it would be hard to question how it's used.
It does not explain what defines an emergency. So in that sense, the Trump administration has an advantage because the statute isn't clear as to what constitutes, an emergency.
Barnett tells me why the border wall may not be built anytime soon.
Take a while before any construction begins, just because not only do you have the lawsuit from 16 different states, you also have a number of lawsuits from individual landowners along the Texas-Mexico border.
Many are left questioning if the money could be spent somewhere else. Student Adriana Melendres tells me how she feels about this particular national emergency.
The money could be used for other natural disasters.
Senior Maricela Camargo tells me how she feels about Donald Trump's declaring a national emergency.
Declaring an emergency alert for money on the wall when they've already told him no, it just doesn't make sense.
This national emergency may appear before the Supreme Court.
That really is going to have to be decided by the courts. He doesn't have the right in the sense that the Constitution very clearly gives the power of budgeting and allocating money in budgets to Congress.
This national emergency has caused quite a stir, as 16 states have begun to sue President Donald Trump. The case may appear before the Supreme Court. These states hope to stop Donald Trump from gaining access to funds to build his border wall. Reporting for Lakefront News, I'm Serapio Marquez.
Stay tuned for sports news coming up next.
Have an event coming up? Why not advertise it in the Lakefront? You can get your ad in as low as $50 in our university paper.
With 1,000 copies printed monthly, your ad is sure to be seen. For more information on prices, email lakefront@olusa.edu.
Welcome back. For the 6th time in 7 years, the Our Lady of the Lakes women's basketball team has captured the Red River Athletic Conference regular season, and the Saints will now prepare for their 10th consecutive conference postseason tournament. This video was provided by the Sports Information Office. Unfortunately, the Our Lady of the Lake men's basketball team has ended its season with an overall 6-20 record and 4-14 in the Red River Athletic Conference. Last night, they fell to Jarvis Christian College 86-92. Jarvis will head out this tournament as the last seed. They finished the regular season with an overall 8-10 record and 11-14 in conference. This video was provided by Sports Information Office. The 3-game series between the Our Lady of the Lake University and Houston-Tilliston University was highlighted by a no-hitter from ace Sierra Martinez. In this series' first game, the Saints won 1-0, lost the second 13-7, and won the final with 8-5. The Saints are now 4-4 overall and 2-1 in the Red River Athletic Conference, while the Rams are 3-5 overall and 1-2 in conference. This video was provided by the Sports Information Office. Stay tuned for this weekend's weather.
Welcome to the Lakefront News. I'm Santiago Reyes.
Enjoy the sun while you can, because this weekend expect cloudy skies with the highs in the upper 70s and the lows in the mid-50s. Coming up next, find out where you can see a free movie.
Touchdown! Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look?
On February 28th, there will be a screening of Black Panther in the Sultan Fest Library 2nd floor. There will be free snacks and prizes to be raffled. The prizes will include a copy of the DVD, Funko Pops, and much more. The movie starts at 6:30 and the event ends at 9 p.m. That's our time for today. Thank you for joining us. For more information, visit our website at lakefrontollu.com. From Lakefront News, I'm Lauren DeLeon.